The flooding emergency continues in New South Wales as authorities warn more rain will fall across already flooded catchments. Julia Bradley is live from Windsor in Sydney's west. What are authorities saying, Julia?
Well, Andrew, authorities are saying that the situation is going to get worse before it starts to get better, because there's still a whole lot more rain that is expected to fall in the next 24 hours right across western parts of Sydney, so from the northwest right down to the southwest as well. We're here in Windsor, and as you can see behind me, the SES has been stationed here pretty much all day. They've been busy carting medical supplies around to people in need who have been cut off by the rising floodwaters, the Hawkesbury Nepean. As you can see over there, pretty much rising up right around that shed, almost half under, and over there as well, road signs almost fully underwater. So that gives you a sense of just how high that river level is. It is sitting at about 12 metres, and over in Camden, which is further south of where I am now, that river level peaked yesterday at almost 13 metres, which is higher than the flood event that we saw back in April, and actually the worst flooding that area has seen in 3 decades. These are incredibly flood-weary communities. They've been through this about 4 times in the last 5 months. Here's what some residents in Camden had to tell me earlier.
Last time in March and April, when we had the previously really bad floods, it took days of rain for it to come up this high, whereas this has been just over 24 hours and it's risen this high. It's quite shocking.
Yeah, that's right. There's just over the other side of the river, there's an independent service station, and this is the 4th time that he's been submerged. Yeah, so almost up to his ceiling. Yep. So every time he's had to clean up everything, clean up all the pumps, clean up the shop, refit the shop. So yeah, I spoke to him on Saturday before it was rising, and they knew it was coming, and yeah, they were quite emotional about it because, you know, 4th time, unbelievable.
There have been more than 80 flood rescues carried out by the SES since 9 p.m. There are more than 70 evacuation orders in place across Western Sydney, and more than 60 evacuation warnings impacting about 32,000 people. There are already 100 ADF personnel on the ground who have been out helping with flood rescues. Most of those rescues are people who have driven through floodwaters, but the New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet has now requested 100 more ADF personnel to assist over the coming days.
The ADF has received a request under the Commonwealth Disaster Recovery Plan to provide support to New South Wales. We've currently got a company-sized group of about 100 people who've worked overnight closely with the SES at McGrath's Hill to conduct a number of activities, including sandbagging, checking weather gauges, and doing door knocks to provide information to the local communities.
And Julia, do we expect it to get worse over the next 24 hours potentially?
We do. There is going to be more rain falling across Greater Sydney, across the Illawarra and the Blue Mountains over the next 24 hours. Totals up to 100 millimetres, even as high as 200 millimetres in some areas on already incredibly saturated catchments. So that means that the river level at certain areas in Western Sydney is going to rise even further.
We are expecting continued rain along the New South Wales, or continued shower activity along the New South Wales coast for the remainder of the week. And that just means that the catchments are not drying out. And so any follow-up systems that we get over the next couple of weeks, we are still in East Coast low season, means the flood risk does remain.
And because catchments are so saturated, that also brings with it the risk of trees falling over and also power lines, even after the rain eases. So a couple of things that authorities are still asking people to be aware of. And of course, they are really urging people not to drive through floodwaters, with this flood emergency showing no signs of easing anytime soon.
Julia Bradley, thanks so much.